Paper has more patience than people. I thought of this saying on one of those days when I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless, wondering whether to stay in or go out. So once she was sitting at home and she was just totally bored and had no energy or interest left to do anything. And she was a little sad also and thinking what to do, whether to stay indoors or go out. That time, this thought had come in her mind. Paper has more patience than people. And this thing she has written in her diary. Yes, paper, I finally stayed where I was brooding. Yes, paper does have more patience. And then she decided to stay indoors only, where she was brooding in the sense pondering over something moodily. And she's writing this in her diary that yes, paper does have more patience. And since I am not planning to let anyone else read this stiff-backed notebook, grandly referred to as a diary, unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of difference. She says that she is not going to let anyone read her diary unless and until she finds a very close friend or real friend. And what did she mean by this? Paper has more patience than people. She has started writing in her diary. She has started maintaining her diary. And according to her, paper is a silent recorder of her thoughts because it doesn't judge. It is non-judgmental. It doesn't judge the person and is patient. You can write anything. You can write all your thoughts on papers. On the other hand, people become judgmental and many a times they don't even bother to listen to others patiently. So that's the difference. So paper has more patience than people. Now I am back to the point that prompted me to keep a diary in the first place. I don't have a friend. So she is now admitting that what had prompted her, means what had made her keep a diary in the first place, what made her write diary, was the fact that she didn't have any friend. She is admitting here, I don't have a friend whom she could say that, a real friend or a close friend. Let me put it more clearly. Since no one will believe that a 13-year-old girl is completely alone in the world. And I am not. I have loving parents and a 16-year-old sister. And there are about 30 people I can call friends. I have a family, loving aunts, and a good home. Now, she says that, one should not, after reading this or after knowing this, one should not believe that a 13-year-old girl is all alone in this world. No, she's not. She has a loving family. She has loving parents and a 16-year-old sister. And around 30 people whom she can call friends. Family of loving aunts and a good home. But it is just on the surface. No, on the surface I seem to have everything except my one true friend. So she says that it is just, this thing is just on the surface, that she has everyone, but she is inside longing for a true friend. All I think about when I'm with friends is having a good time. I can't bring myself to talk about anything but ordinary everyday things. So she says that she has a very formal relationship with all the friends. They have good fun time, but she can't confide, or impart secrets with them. Can't trust everybody. Maybe it's my fault. We don't seem to be able to get any closer. And that's the problem. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other. Maybe it is her fault that they don't confide in each other. That means among friends there is something which is stopping her to confide with her friends, confide in her friends. That means imparting secrets trustfully or discussing private matters or problems with full trust on each other. So that was not happening. And unfortunately, they are not liable to change. So the things were such that they according to her, they were not going to change at all. This is why I have started the diary. And that was why she wanted to write a diary. So here she has given the reason what prompted her to write diary. To enhance the image of this long-awaited friend in my imagination, I don't want to jot down the facts in this diary the way most people would do, but I want the diary to be my friend, and I'm going to call this friend Kitty. Because she was waiting for a friend who could be a real friend to her. So, but she could not find any trustworthy person in her life whom she could call friend. So to enhance that image, to maintain that image in her imagination, she decided to call the diary her friend, and she named it as Kitty also. And she decided that she would not just write down about the facts like other people do in their diaries, but she would treat the diary as her friend. That means she would be sharing all her thoughts, all her secrets, all her day-to-day life, and whatever she wanted to write in the diary, as if the diary was a friend. Since no one would understand a word of my stories to Kitty if I were to plunge right in, I would better provide a brief sketch of my life, with much as I dislike doing so. Now here she says that she doesn't want to just start straight away writing about her daily routine or about her thoughts and all in the diary. First she wants to give an introduction, which she hates to give, but she doesn't want to just start straight away without giving introduction of herself and her family. So my father, the most adorable father I have ever seen, didn't marry my mother until he was 36. Now she's telling about her family, and she was 25. My sister Margot was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. I was born on 12 June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt, so Margot was her elder sister. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4. My father emigrated to Holland in 1933. From Frankfurt, her father went to Holland. Emigrated means leaving one's own country to settle permanently in another country. My mother, Edith Hollander Frank, went with him to Holland in September, while Margot and I were sent to Aachen to stay with our grandmother. Aachen is also a place in Germany. Margot went to Holland in December, and I followed in February. When I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margot. So it was like her birthday had come. So that time she reached there and she was plunked down in the sense she was put down in a casual manner on the table for her as a birthday present. I started right away at the Montessori nursery school. I stayed there until I was 6, at which time I started in the first form. So she started going to the Montessori nursery school. In the 6th form, my teacher was Mrs. Kupris, the headmistress. At the end of the year, we were both in tears as we said a heartbreaking farewell. She was very attached to Mrs. Kupris, and when she was given farewell, both of them were in tears. In the summer of 1941, Grandma fell ill and had to have an operation. So my birthday passed with little celebration. Grandma died in January 1942. In January 1942, her grandma died because of her illness, even after the operation. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. She says that she had missed her. This birthday celebration in 1942 was intended to make up for the other, and Grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. This time, in 1942, her birthday celebration was done nicely with the intention because to make up for the other, because in last year it was not celebrated properly because of her grandmother was ill and had undergone an operation. So this year this year, that means 1942, they celebrated her birthday quite nicely. And with the candles, other candles, one candle for her grandma was also lit, so to give tribute to her. The four of us are still doing well, and that brings me to the present date of 20 June 1942 and the solemn dedication of my diary. So she says, now it is, till now we are all doing fine, and it is what date? 20th June 1942. That means she started writing the diary from 20th June 1942. And the solemn dedication of my diary. Solemn means with deep sincerity. She is giving that dedication to her diary.